In the south centre of the Democratic Republic of Congo, diamonds are the only game in town, and the Kalashnikov practically the only law of the land. Nearly 12,000 children toil in these mines every day to support their family, hoping for that big rock which will bring riches. Gravel from holes dug in the earth is sifted at the river's edge where middlemen line their tables.
$200.
Although we are accompanied by UNICEF staff and local guides, gunmen threaten us to stop filming. After heated discussions, they agree to let us quickly film 3 children and then take us out of their territory. There are lots of middlemen, men who earn their living with guns, and whole families digging, sifting, bringing water and food. Thousands of children work for a pittance, and as far as they can see, that is what life will always be. Mining-related diseases are widespread among them, and prostitution is rampant among girls. Kaku is 12 years old and has already spent 3 years in the mines. He works from 5 in the morning until 6 in the evening for $1 or $2 a day.
It's very hard work. If I don't give the soldiers money, then they take my clothes and they beat me.
He says he and the other children have to pay 10 to 20% of what they find to the gunmen. Kakui is probably timid before the camera, but at 12 years old, he seems like a broken man.
I don't have any other work, only digging. I don't think of anything.
According to UNICEF, more than 40,000 children work in the mines of the southern and central provinces of the Democratic Republic of Congo, a country with some of Africa's biggest mineral resources. The mining company of Bakwanga in eastern Kasai has long controlled the mines in the area which contribute 50% of Congo's diamond exports. In the early 1980s, the government opened up mining, meaning anyone could dig a hole and search for diamonds. With the influx of refugees from conflict zones and the return of those fleeing ethnic violence, there has since been an explosion in the numbers of those scraping an existence in the mud. Ethnic violence forced Tonnerre, a father of 8 children, to leave the south and return to his native region.
There was a civil war. Our clan, the Balubas from here, were fighting the Balubas there. That's when we had to leave. They told us to go back to our native village. I'm very frustrated. I'm not proud. It really hurts deep in my heart. I had an education and a good childhood, but when I see how my children have to live, honestly, it really breaks my heart.
Untuumba, Tonnerre's daughter, was one of the first in a program sponsored by UNICEF to give families an alternative. She was one of 100 children chosen to begin this program of basic education and professional training. She chose to learn sewing, and at the end of a 6-month class, she was given a start-up kit and is now working in a small shop. Children should go to school, a message this street theatre company is trying to get across to parents and youngsters alike.
In the scene we presented today, we wanted to make parents aware and ask them, and all those looking after children, not to send their children to the mines. In the play, you're able to see an actress who gets sick after heavy work. It's not good for children to do this. And we know that in the diamond mines, there are always very serious consequences. And the most real of these is death. When you suffer and you don't have the resources to get medical help, what do? You just die because you don't have the money.
In a country with so many problems, the world's attention remains fixed on the conflict zones of Kivu, where factions have been fighting for years. However, in the centre of the country, people, and more specifically children, may be in greater danger.
Ici, la mortalité infantile est beaucoup plus élevée, donc de 0 à 5 ans. Here, the child mortality rate from birth to 5 years old is much higher than in the two Kivu regions devastated by conflict for years. There are many reasons for that, but one is that there are many different organizations working in the east than here. UNICEF has a lot of difficulty in attracting partners to this region. It's good to do small projects to help the children because you also have to look at the short term. But it's hard to make such projects sustainable in the long term. It's the responsibility first of the families and then of the community and finally of the government to take care of these children.
We are aware of the rights of children. We have a law, but we have problems with its application because of a lack of money, a lack of understanding, and above all, because of resistance to change. It takes a complete change of mentalities. For many people, children are there to help their parents. If they send them to get water, it's to help the parents. They don't see it as work. But we have another problem. You take a child out of the mines, you convince him to leave the mines and take him to a safe place. And what happens tomorrow? What will he eat? What will he wear? How will he protect himself? The lure of the mines is always there.
To succeed, development projects need to treat the problem at all levels. Alexandra is no stranger to the halls of power in the country, having to deal with politicians of varying degrees of sincerity and interest.
I can see a certain change in what the authorities say, and you can see it in what His Excellency the Minister is saying. He talked about sustainability, but what we have to get them to understand is that sustainability must come from the government.
It's a long-term battle, and in the meantime, Kakui and thousands of other children are still in the mines. And their situation is far worse than what we can show with a camera, when the men with guns dictate what can and cannot be filmed.